It's not loud enough. You gotta make that face when you have to make a stink face, like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Am I the only one? Hey everyone, welcome to Astro Live Chat. It's lit over here. Lit, just a little bit. We'll see what happens with the music tonight. And if Instagram knocks us off. I'm gonna give them a minute to decide if Instagram is gonna knock me off or not. All right, ready? Ah, I'm gonna spill my tea. You have to make the stank face. All right, ready? Spin your car around, slow, 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 slow. We're parallel parking. We're parallel parking. All right, back it up, back it up. Almost got it. There it is. Oh. All right. I'm surprised. Instagram hasn't knocked me off yet. Okay, somebody help Meg Keenan. She says, how do we get on live chat? I don't know. If you're friends with username Meg Keenan, go help your friend. She's lost. She's looking for us. Oh, okay, music's over, I guess. So you guys already know, for those of you guys who are old friends and old tribe people, how hard it has been in order to get music during during our Astro Live chats. In fact, in the beginning, we were calling them Astro Live parties or Astro Chat parties or Astro parties. I can't remember, because it was actually lit. We had music going. The moment that I did that, a week before that I did that, or a week after I did that, Instagram created this new policy and was like, no music playing during live chats at all, because it's like copyright issues or whatever. And that shut that down really quickly, but our Astro Live chats still ended up being pretty lit even without the music. Then I did some research, because that's what we Virgos do. We're not the best DJs, but we're really good at doing research and studying. So that's what I did. And apparently you can play copyright-free music, which I did a quick Google search. I put in copyright-free trap music because that's what I was feeling. And this is pretty lit. I don't know, I like it. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't, if you're not a big dubstep fan or a trap, or what do they call it? What's the other word? I forget the other word. Luna Soul Sister, hello. Elizabeth 22 says, just need to make our own music then. Someone needs to. Free Spirit Amethyst is giving me thumbs up. Jewel Louise is giving me thumbs up. Duff at Vegan. Jordan with a Y. Charlotte Simplicity. Honey Del Val says, Honey Deval says, hey Jess, I made it. Hey babe, every time. EDM, Veronica, you're right. It's EDM. That's the music. I was going to say DMV, but I'm like, no, that's where you get your driver's license. Sister of the Night is giving me a thumbs up. Okay, so we do like the trap music. We do like the dubstep. Good. It's not going anywhere. Actually, this one isn't so hot, but it's cool. Carmenatra says soundcloud.com/Carmenatra. All right, girl, I'll check you out. So DM. DM me. Ooh, I'm hot. Ooh, we're top live. That was fast. How many minutes are we in? 4 minutes. 5 minutes in and we're top live. Cool. That tea is really good. For those of you guys who are wondering what I'm drinking, we're top live again. Woo! Chamomile and lavender. We did get some growth recently. When I moved to New Orleans, I noticed that there was a growth in my followers, kind of jumped. So for those of you guys who are brand new, welcome. For those of you guys who came in from Twitter, welcome. For some reason, I've been tweeting lately, and that's been you know, connecting more people to our group, which is awesome because I love tweeting. Actually, I have a personal personal Twitter that I don't tell anybody. I only have like, I think like 3 followers, but I tweet on that all the time. So it feels really good to tweet a little bit more on BehatiLife and not really censor myself when it comes to that. The Lotus RN says, are we just starting? Did I miss a lot? No, girl, we're just getting started. It's 5 minutes in, so nothing too crazy going on yet. I'm watching my notifications and my DMs and all other things on my other phone while we're doing live chat from this. Claudia Libra says, top live. Yes, we're finally top live. How is everyone feeling right now? For the most part, I think across the board we should be feeling pretty good. There are some things that I've been looking at astrologically that I'm watching globally that make a lot of sense that I wanted to talk about. One of the things is the fact that, and I knew this. One of my girlfriends is calling. Just a second. Yo, Lori, let me call you back. Are you okay? All right, I'll call you back. Bye. As soon as I go live, everyone's like, hey, Jess, what are you doing, girl? Live chat, man. Come on now, you guys know this. Anyways, so there's one thing that I did a while ago, a video that I made a while ago before Pluto moved in, when Jupiter moves into the sign of Scorpio, which is almost at the very tail end. So go ahead and check out that video. But pretty much what it was that I was mentioning in that video was the fact that we're going to start seeing a lot more highlighting issues when it comes to, oh, I'm watching you guys saying that some people are feeling really sad or some people are feeling kind of bad. Okay, we'll talk. But I was talking about in this video, like Jupiter moving into the sign of Scorpio, how issues of sex and control and manipulation and power are going to start highlighting, and also how we handle this as a society, how we look at it in our own minds, how we perceive it, and how we tackle these issues. That's when we started seeing things like people getting outed. Literally, mark my words, look at the time that I filmed that video and then look at when all of this started happening. Like, you can actually Google the start of these cycles and these trends. So that's when we started looking at our, at least in the US, Donald Trump and how the things that he has said, other people in positions of power most of the time, because by default, because it's been men who have been placed in positions of power, how they have abused that power using sex and control and manipulation in order to influence their power over other people, minorities, that being women, homosexuals, minorities of all different types of backgrounds. So how that has happened, and then how we are kind of switching our judicial system and how we are trying to revamp how we create checks and balances and restore the balance, especially since Jupiter moved out of the sign of Libra. Libra is all about restoring the balance. So now it's like, okay, we looked at that. Now we need to look at issues of power and control. And last week with Pluto just recently going direct, what we're going to see is those issues, because Pluto rules Scorpio. So because Pluto was retrograde, it either will work to kind of suppress certain things or bring them all up to the surface. So we're starting to see issues of power, control, manipulation, and those people being ushered into power despite the fact that maybe they don't deserve it, or maybe they have their own little negative backgrounds. So if you do a quick search on current events, if you look at the news, you're going to see that all over the outlets lately within this last week. Wink, wink, if you know what it is that I'm talking about. So that's something to look out for. Jupiter surges that, Pluto surges that. Before we get started on Astro Live Chat, and before we start talking about this week, there's a few things that I do want to mention that we're going to talk about. Number one is the fact that we have the new moon in Libra, which is technically tonight. For some of you guys, that falls in for tomorrow morning, depending on your location. So we want to talk about that. We also want to talk about Venus retrograde, and we want to talk about, I don't remember what was the last thing. Let me check my Twitter. You think I would write these things down, but I do have my notes, because when I was getting ready and when I was getting prepared for this chat, I spent some time in my meditation and thinking about, okay, what is it that, okay, manifestation, Libra New Moon, and Venus retrograde. Perfect, that's what I thought. So I wasn't really missing out on anything. So I took some time to meditate for an hour before in order to prepare for our Astro Live chat to see what came through. And there were some really interesting messages that came through. Some of them came in through like a lightning bolt. And these are things that I want to dive into first and foremost before we talk about the Libra New Moon, because the Libra New Moon is something is so easy to talk about. And I know for a fact that we'll get into it. But the one thing that I think is very important that I don't want you guys to miss, because even though the Libra New Moon is happening tonight, and I want to encourage you guys to set your intentions, there's something that kind of derailed me and focused my attention over in that area. And it makes sense because it's ruled, the energy of this is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto only just recently went direct on the 2nd. And it's the 8th now. So Pluto is really starting to get itself prepared. It's a very slow moving planet. So the energy that it brings is, number one, it's very intense, but it takes a while to kind of switch its energy up and to become, to move in a direct motion, meaning like to give all of its energy into moving forward. Now, Pluto rules death, destruction, transformation, release, and control. And just recently, when we're looking in our society and we're looking at least in the US, we're looking at our government and we're looking at issues of sex and power and control and manipulation and people in those positions of power. And why are those areas being highlighted? Well, and change being highlighted. Now, these are things that don't come by default. They don't come through easily. They're things that we have to fight for as an individual. Even if you feel like you're insignificant, even if you feel like, you know, your voice doesn't matter, or your perspective or your opinion or your Instagram, your social media, your letters, your words, they don't make a difference. They do actually, in fact, make a difference. On a global level, you're right, like we have to, as a core in our government, in our world, and I'm talking from the United States, but this is all over the globe, because I know I have part of our tribe is from international aspects. So as a collective, we kind of vote and we put our opinion out there, and then we hope that makes change. In our personal lives, we see this in issues of power, control, manipulation, releasing, fear, transformation, transition, because we feel it in our own world, because even though it's happening globally, even though it's happening across the board or in our country, that still is impacting us here on Earth in our personal lives. The thing is that with Pluto, we feel these changes slow. It's like a slow grind. It's really slow and steady, and it takes time to kind of reveal itself and take time to make this change and transition. If you look at the chart, here we go, sorry guys. If we look at the chart, most of the planets are falling in the signs of cardinal signs. And cardinal signs, what they do is that they suggest that these are the change agent signs. Without cardinal signs, we would stay in the same situation time and time and time again. The reality is that there are people who are leaders and there are people who are followers. There are people who are here to usher in change and to create change, and there's people who are designed to kind of complete what has already been created by those cardinal signs, and there's people who just kind of follow behind that and just kind of reap the benefit and reap the reward in the way and give their gifts in their way. So we all have special, unique gifts. We all need each other. But if you look at the chart right now, so many of the planets are falling in places of incredible change, meaning that this change has to happen not by default. You don't lay over on your back and roll over. But there has to be a shift. You have to set the intention, or you have to say something, you have to do something, you have to create some type of momentum in order to see the ball rolling. Now, why is this important right now, outside of the fact that Pluto is now currently direct, and I'm talking about it a week later, but you guys already know that I'm not going to leave you hanging. So even if there's something that happens, if Pluto goes direct last week, that energy is still building now. We need to talk about it now, because this is when we start feeling it. Then, since Pluto has gone direct after being retrograde from starting last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks from now, I'm going to mention it again. Why? Because you're going to start seeing these changes kind of happening. The same thing is true when I'm looking at this chart and I'm seeing the planets are falling in within this cardinal signs, these cardinal signs. This is so perfect. This is so divine because the majority of the time of this year, it's fucking October. The majority of the planets up until, like, even though we started this year in January, the majority of the planets have been retrograde the entire year, and it's October. So now that we have this new moon, now that these signs, these planets are falling in the cardinal signs, now that Pluto is finally going direct after being retrograde for so long, this is the time really, because I've been saying this, and you guys know, if you've been with me for months, if you've been with me for years, I've been saying the same thing. At least around during these live chats lately, I'm like, yo, stop banging your head up against a brick wall. By the time these planets go direct, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be burnt out. You're going to have headaches. You're going to have dizziness. You're going to have low energy because you've done too much at the wrong time. Listen to me. Watch the timing. Watch the cycles. All right? So now that these planets are falling in cardinal signs, this shows that there's something that needs to be initiated. Now's the time to kind of get that boost. Now's the time to use your words. Mercury is direct for now, so you have one, and Mercury is about to go retrograde. But you have a few more days in order to use this, to maximize this now before another planet goes retrograde. The majority of the planets, your action, your transformation, your security, your stability, your abundance, your blessing, your mind, your words, your emotions, your feelings, your spirit, your impulsiveness, your ideas, your healing, all of these things are all ruled by certain planets that are now currently direct. The only planet that is retrograde right now, and if you see me looking off in the corner, it's because I have the chart back there. The only planets that are retrograde at this moment are Venus and Neptune and Uranus. Uranus rules erratic decisions. Uranus rules thinking ahead, thinking light years ahead. Neptune rules illusion and fantasy, but we'll talk about this because that's not necessarily a negative thing. Venus rules beauty, love, aesthetic, the things that are valuable to us. Venus falls within the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is intense. Scorpio is emotional. Scorpio is passionate. Scorpio is connected to the shadow side, the darker sides of the self. So now that Venus is retrograde, and I'm focusing on Pluto for a very specific reason, what we're seeing is, and this new moon is happening in the sign of Libra, connecting to the energy of Venus, who's sitting in the sign of Scorpio. Now, bear with me. So I say this to all of my astrologer-loving people who ask me all the time, Jess, astrology is so complicated. It is, but it's very simple at the same time. So you just have to kind of follow. You guys, I don't see any. I just saw someone say, Sizology say, just report him or just report him. I'm not looking at comments right now, so if you guys can report people, feel free. I'm not looking at comments right now. I'm on a tangent. I'm in a world of my own, so I don't see what's going on. So thank you guys for looking out for me right now, looking out for our tribe, because I see life in pink. Like, I don't see anything right now, but what it is that I'm talking about. But I just saw that comment being like, report him, report him. I'm like, report who? I don't know what's going on. I'm talking about this right now. All right, thank you, girl. You the best. So wait, everyone give Hawthor Blackmore some thumbs up and some hugs and some kisses, because she's the one who's looking out for us right now, and she reported. And I invite you guys to report whoever needs to, because sometimes it happens, especially with us top live. I don't see these comments half the time. Born to Sing for You says your makeup is fire. Girl, thank you. Can I tell you though, since I moved to New Orleans, my face has been breaking out, and you guys know I normally have awesome skin. I have to admit, I have been eating a lot of fried food since I got down here. I have not been eating well since I got down here, and I've been enjoying it, and I have not been drinking enough water. Full disclosure, I'm not going to pretend like I'm perfect. So that's probably a part of the breakup. I'm sorry, the breakout. And yeah, so thank you for mentioning my makeup, but I didn't actually stress out. Yes, I did. I did stress out for this move. I was stressed out a little bit. I was exhausted before this move. So that's why I've been drinking a lot of tea lately and water, because it just seems like no matter what, after this, right around this move, when I moved to tropical climates and things like this. But and I can't lie, it's probably my diet too. I just broke out. It is what it is. But thank you for complimenting my makeup. I appreciate it. But it reminded me, I'm like, I need to take care of myself. Which is funny too, because the new moon falls in the sign of Libra. Libra's all about aesthetic and beauty and taking care of yourself, and then self-love. Not that I don't love myself, but I've been so busy, getting settled and moving and all this other stuff that I really have been neglecting my skincare, and I've just been eating. Oh my God. If you have never been to New Orleans, you need to come, if not just to eat the food here. You really can't go wrong, but there are places that are just like fried food, and it's just fried and like not good, maybe flavorless, but there's few of those places. There's so many good places that are so good to eat at. The food in New Orleans is insane, but a lot of it is fried and fatty and delicious. Emphasis on delicious. So I've just been indulging. I just go out and I eat. And then while I'm eating my breakfast, I'm thinking about lunch. While I'm eating lunch, I'm thinking about dinner, because I'm just so excited. Then I'm eating dinner and I'm like, dessert. Where are we gonna go for dessert? Like, you just don't have it at the same spot. Just go. Or you cook or whatever. Anyways, that's not why you guys tune in, is to listen to me talk about my diet and the fact that my face is breaking out because I'm eating shit lately. But the one thing that I do want to go back and talk about as I'm looking at this chart is, and I was sitting there meditating on this, you guys. I was sitting there meditating on this and this message, and I'm like, what do I need to hear right now? What is it that what is the predominant message that I need to share? And I started looking at Pluto, and I started zeroing on Pluto, and I was looking at it, how it's aspecting this new moon in Libra. And we'll talk about that, but first of all, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about Pluto. And Pluto rules issues of control, issues of power, manipulation, sex, intimacy, fear. So I'm reading your comments. And I'm also taking a moment because this just blew my freaking mind. Like, it really did. Pluto rules the shadow sides. You guys, take your notepads out. Like, make sure you're writing this down. I'm about to drop a mind bomb on you. Because I was sitting there and I was like, what the fuck? It all makes sense now. Like, just me just sitting there connecting all the dots. But no, seriously. I've been studying astrology for 8 years. Well, longer than that. But I've been studying astrology for a long time, and to this day, I'll look at a chart and I'll ask my angels, my guides, like, okay, show me, what do I need to see, what do I need to know? And then I'll look at it, I'll fixate on it, and then I'll start realizing, I'm like, oh my gosh, and start putting it together. That's what happened right before I got started. I texted my mom, I'm like, Mom, join in, we need to talk, all right? So everyone has their notepads. Like my screen or fill my screen up with hearts if you guys, okay, pencils ready, I see you, okay, good. Okay, so Pluto rules, all right? Pluto rules the shadow sides of the self. Pluto rules the shadow sides of the mind. Pluto rules manipulation. It rules power, control, intimacy. So Pluto has one of the worst reputations in the entire chart of all the planets, next to Saturn and Uranus and Neptune, because it rules. It's the one that kind of is more, you look at it and it's more prevalent, like it's more obvious, the negative sides of it. So that's why a lot of people that are beginners are talking about astrology in blogs and stuff like that. Even the major blogs that you can find on the web, they talk about Pluto, but you'll see that I see that they're very informed because they're only talking about the negative aspects of these planets. The truth is that even the positive planets have very negative sides to them, but no one talks about it. Everyone always says, oh, Venus is so good. Like, oh yeah. Wait till Venus starts messing your life up and she's direct and you have no idea and you're looking for other sources to be like, Venus did, or Pluto did this, Mercury retrograde did this. Mercury retrograde and Pluto retrograde and Saturn retrograde and Uranus retrograde could be the best blessings of your life, but you would never give those planets credit because you're like trying to put the blame on other things and not even realizing that you're messing yourself up. Because you could be learning about astrology if you're open to learning about it. Anyways, this is my little tangent. That's not what I wanted you guys to write down. Okay, so Pluto is so notoriously known for its negative aspects, which is manipulation, control, fear, destruction, transformation. That's the largest one. People look at Pluto and like, something in my life is going to die. Something in my life is going to be wiped out. It's true. It really, truly is true. It truly is true what it is that I just said about Pluto being gonna, kill something in your life. Truly, honestly, truly. But the thing is that Pluto is connected to the 12th house, and Pluto will wipe things out. But Pluto rules death, it rules transformation, it rules transition, and it also rules control. Right? Where am I going with this? When something dies and when something needs to be released, you have to fucking let go of your control of it. Pluto rules the same thing. Oh, it's so good! Pluto rules the same thing. Pluto rules the same lesson of control and death, transformation, transition. That is the beauty of this. That is the beauty of this planet. Like, the universe is so smart. This universe is so wise, and we're just sitting there just oblivious to it. Right? So Pluto rules control, and it also rules death and transformation. Do you know what control is? Control is fear. Control, you have no idea. If we're trying to control things, it's because we have fear. We are afraid of letting go of our control, or we're trying to manipulate things. We're trying to control them because in a lot of ways, for many of us, it's tied to a fear, a sense of fear. A lack of control makes people feel like they're out of control, when in reality, we have no fucking control over anything in our lives. We can set the intention for it, and then when we set the intention, things start to release, things start to transition, things start to die, things start to release. And guess what we do? In a lot of ways, we lock in, we obsess on it, we possess it. Pluto rules possession, obsession, holding on, locking in. At the same time, it rules the energy of letting it go. So knowing when to dive into it, to sink your teeth into it, and then also knowing when to completely let go of it. That is the craziest thing I've ever, right? So if you look at where Pluto falls and where it naturally rules within the chart, it rules the 12th house, the house of self-undoing. The ability, our fears, our insecurities, what kind of holds us back, what makes us confined, what makes us unable to be free. And that's why it also rules prisons, mental institutions, mental breakdowns, jails. Did I say that? I did. That's the 12th house, ruled by the 12th house. Well, Pluto rules the 12th house, sitting over here. The very opposite is the 6th house. The 6th house is your day-to-day routine and your ability to create, your ability to make change. This is the house of doing. The 6th house sits directly opposite the house of self-undoing. And what happens is the 6th house shows what we actually can control. Virgo naturally rules this ability to control things. That's why Virgo is a sign of the perfectionist, because it zeroes in on what we have the potential, the capacity to perfect, to make right, to what we have control within our jurisdiction, what we have in our power, right? But the reality is that Virgo is only listening to the signals of what the 12th house is giving it, and also what the rest of the planets are telling it to do. But if you actually look into it, our ability to create change in our day-to-day lives does not come from, well, it does come from the subconscious knowingness that's connected to the universe, but it also comes from our day-to-day ability to take care of ourselves. But that in itself is a personal transformation that you decide. And that's crazy to me. Like, that's crazy. All of this is all stemmed and just, give me hands up if all of this makes sense, because I was sitting there and I was like, oh my freaking God. Oh my goodness. So I said this in one of our last Astro Live chats, which Virgo, the 6th house, is being highlighted, and that's connected to our routine, our lifestyle, our diet, our ability to take care of ourselves, our service to others, what we can actually do, and who can help us with that. The 6th house also connects to our animals, so like our dogs, our cats, because they're there to support us. They're there to be of service to us. The very opposite of that is how we kind of deliver that, how we're mentally able to deliver that. Those services, being of service to others, and then those animals that can help us with that. So horses and cows and stuff like that, the larger animals. Okay, so you guys are saying yes with me. Perfect. So how this connects to the new moon, and why this is so important, and why I think the universe kind of wanted me to talk about this, is because Pluto squares the new moon. I'm looking over here because I'm looking at the chart. Pluto squares this new moon, and this squares our ability to control things. This squares our challenges our need, our desire to control things, to assert our power, to assert our control. When reality is, there's only few things that it is that we can control. This new moon actually challenges that. It challenges that theory. The crazy thing is that this new moon falls in the sign of Libra. Now, if you took a moment right now and looked anywhere on the internet for any blog talking about Libra and this new moon, they're going to be talking about beauty, aesthetic, love, value. And all of that is very true. And I'll talk about that in a second and why. But the reality is that Libra wants to restore balance. And Libra wants to create harmony. The sign before Libra is Virgo. All of this makes sense because everything works in a cycle, at least in the eyes of our elders, the wise ones that came before us, and the people who look to the stars and use the stars, the cosmos, in order to understand our environment here. So as above, so below. They were the ones, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here being able to understand our connection to the environment, our connection to the world, and also to be able to understand our life and our purpose here. So anyways, back to cycles. I'm sharp. I used to be so flighty in my head and unfocused. Wow, I'm an oxymoron because I literally am proving my own point. Like I'm trying to say, like, look how focused I am, and then I derail by saying, look how focused I am. Anyways, I used to forget all the time. You guys remember when I first started this? I'm like, blah, 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 my mind. All right, but we're back on track. We're back on track. So the sign before Libra is Virgo. And we were just talking about Virgo because Virgo wants to perfect, it wants to clean, it wants to organize, it wants to detail, it wants to make sure that we're prepared because these are the things that it is that we can control. What makes Virgo crazy is that there's too many things that we can't control. And that's why we need the very opposite Pisces to connect us to the energy of Neptune and to the release and to trust and to follow our intuition because Virgo has a hard time with that. But anyways, so when the sun and the other planets were moving through the sign of Virgo or highlighting the energy of Virgo, which was not too long ago, we were focusing on perfection. We were focusing on what is it that's missing out of my life. I need to look at everything. I need to take inventory. And I told you guys this when it was happening. So hopefully you're following along. And if you're not, if you're new here, welcome. Now you know, now you can prepare, now you can be ahead, know what's to come, because me as a Virgo, I'm the one who's taking inventory. I'm the one who's pulling the charts. I'm the one who's a perfectionist. I'm the one using Mercury, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, to study and to go in my little hidey hole and isolate myself from the world at times and, you know, connect the dots, because that's what we Virgos do. Thankfully for me, I'm able to connect with the opposite energy of Neptune and use my intuition, but that took time. Anyways, so when we were going through the energy of Virgo, when we were experiencing the energy of Virgo, we were making an inventory, we were making an assessment of what was missing out of our lives. And we realized that we are not perfect. We realized that not everything is perfect, and hopefully, that there's not a whole lot of things that we can control. That's when Pluto starts coming in, because Pluto is now going to trigger that idea in your life now, because it's triggering this new moon. Now, the new moons start the new seed. They plant the start of the next energy that's going to come. So Pluto says, okay, what is it that you can control and what is it that you can't control? Release, 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 and let go of your need to control, to manipulate, because there are some things that are currently out of your jurisdiction that you can't manipulate even if you wanted to. But you know what you can do is you give it up to God, you give it up to the cosmos, you give it up to the universe to kind of sort things out for you on your behalf. Mentally, though, because mental is everything here, and your ability to use alchemy, because you do have some power, you do have some kind of direction here. Pluto gives you that power, because just as much as it says you have no control, it says at the same time this is what you can control. So when the planets were moving through the sign of Virgo, what we were doing and what was happening is what we were assessing. We only just recently entered in the sign of Libra not too long ago. So we realize that we're not perfect and we are not expecting perfection of ourselves. But it doesn't mean that we don't want our perfect. So that's what Libra does, is it takes our happily ever after. Libra wants balance. Libra wants harmony, but it understands that what is going to create harmony for you, and even the alchemist knows this, the magician knows this, the witch knows this, the person who's working with the elements knows this, that in order to create balance for yourself, it's not going to be perfect. It's because Virgo does that. That's Virgo's jurisdiction. Libra, the influence that we're under right now, means what is balanced for me is not balanced for you. What's balanced for me is not balanced for homeboy over there. What's balanced for me is not what's balanced for the guy that is on the connection. Sorry guys, my internet is really spotty lately. Anyways, like I was saying, there is this guy the other day, I was taking photos and of the witch ball, and he's like, he sees me taking this photo, right? Because I wanted to give you guys a really good quality shot of my witch ball that I got, which is over here somewhere. It's right here. Please excuse my appearance right now. I'm a wild woman. So I'm taking photos of this witch ball, minding my own business, and he's drunk because it's New Orleans, and of course he is. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning, by the way, but I'm not judging. And he's like, take a picture of this. And he just, on the balcony, just, and I'm like, seriously though? And he's got like people around him, I'm not even kidding. And I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, shh. Not even fazed by the fact that homeboy just kind of like wagged his wiener at me. Also, he has the most amazing, and if you're watching, sir, this is the reality. This is the reality. He has the most amazing belly that looks like he swallowed the largest pumpkin I've ever seen in my entire life. A pumpkin. And he's like, take a picture of this. And I'm like, shh. And I go back to taking a picture of my witch ball. And I guess he was expecting a reaction, but I don't care. Like, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're drunk. I'm living my life. And he's like, what is it that you got there in your hands? I give up. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this story, but just people are so ridiculous. So I'm like, it's a witch ball. And he's like, a wish ball? And I said, a witch ball. He's like, witch? And I was like, yes, like witchcraft. And he just looks at me. And then he turns around and he walks inside. And that was the other day. And I was like, all right, cool, bye. Bye. Thank you for that. Anyways, so that was my fun story. 444. I don't like, nothing phases me anymore. Like, nothing ever phased me. But that definitely didn't faze me. They're still out there too. And now whenever I walk by, he's just quiet. Like, what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put a spell on you with my witch ball? And I told him, I was like, it's a witch ball. Google it. It's for protection. Witchcraft. And he's just like, and like walks away. Welcome to New Orleans. The majority of us are witches or connected to music or hoodoo, voodoo, ghosts, drunks, artists. That's New Orleans in a nutshell, okay? That's all you get. You either love it or you don't love it. Like, what do you expect? Your neighbor is a witch. Anyways. Oh, did you see that? I just dripped all this tea on me. That's when I was dancing to EDM in the beginning. I need to take a sip. Chris ING says, it worked. Exactly. Protection. That's right. Get your pumpkin belly self back inside, sir. Stop worrying about what I'm doing. And next time you're standing outside, don't swing your dick at a wonderful girl who's just taking pictures of her new found item that she was so happy and elated about. I didn't deserve that. I could have called the cops on his ass, but I didn't. In fact, I just complimented the fact that his belly was an amazing pumpkin shape. I was blown away by it, and I'm not hating on that. That is a beautiful, that's something, he should be proud of that. He put in a lot of work in order to create the perfect pumpkin belly, and he has it, and I'm proud of him. Anyways, guys, we derailed. Okay. So the fact that the Libra new moon, the new moon falls in the sign of Libra, and oh, it's raining again. Wow, squirrel. Damn it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay focused, but I also love these storms. That's another reason too that I came down to New Orleans, is because of these storms. They're not as magical as Florida storms. Those Florida storms are insane with like thunder and lightning. Very, very frightening. Me, Galileo, Galileo, Galileo. No, 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 no. All right, I'm sorry. Which is crazy because I just went off on a tangent and our followers just jumped. Y'all are weird. Let me take a picture. Boop. Okay. Okay. We're focused now, like for real. I'm back. So the new moon happens in a sign of Libra. Libra is naturally ruled. Let me check my time. Okay, we're at 40 minutes. Cool. Libra is naturally ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, values, attraction. Make sure you're writing all of this down, okay? I'm giving you guys pearls for free. I'm giving it to you. But the thing is that Venus is currently retrograde, and the whole world is panicking about this on the internet, and I have successfully tuned it out. Just like Pumpkin Belly Man was slapping his penis around from the balcony, I have successfully tuned that out. In fact, I'm sure he wasn't expecting me to be like, shh, and go back to taking my photo, like, shh. Anyways, so, yeah, the whole world is freaking out by the fact that Venus is currently retrograde because they're like, my relationship is gonna fall apart. Maybe. It could. Pluto and Saturn are the planets that would probably, or Uranus sometimes, are the planets that would probably create the breakdown of that relationship. If anything, the relationship was weakened by the fact, if anything, the planet was weakened by the fact that Pluto was retrograde and now direct. Saturn was retrograde, but now direct. Uranus is currently retrograde, sitting directly opposite of Mercury, but we'll talk about that in a second. So if anything, that's what's going to rule that breakdown of the relationship. What Venus is doing is it's making you reevaluate. Now, I've been saying this like a broken record. When we have these planets moving through the sign of Scorpio, what we're doing is we are reevaluating what is most important to us. This is the most intimate, vulnerable, triggering energy that I think people can really experience collectively. And we've been going through it a lot. And especially since Jupiter moved to the sign of Scorpio. Jupiter moved into the sign of Scorpio. And this is because it requires us to be very, to honestly assess what is very important to us, what is valuable to us. Scorpio does not stick around with superficial. My Scorpios here understand that. My Scorpio sun signs, my Scorpio risings, my Scorpio moons, my Scorpio Mercuries, you guys know this 100%. You'll be the first ones to be like, I don't fucks with superficial. I don't do surface level relationships. I don't do surface level anything because I don't got time for it. Because Scorpio understands that time is valuable. Their energy is valuable. It's precious. And they don't want to waste their time with things that are not deep. They want to connect. They're the ones that if a Scorpio energy walks into the room, everyone's like, they're not comfortable with it, and they hate it, and they despise it, and they push back at it. Or there's people who are like, you're the only one that I can tell this to. Because it's either you love it, you hate it. You either can swallow it, or you have to throw it up. Or you choke on it. That's the energy of what's going on in the stars currently. Now, with Venus retrograde, this is not just your relationships. It's your relationship with yourself. It's your relationship with your career. It's your relationship with the rain. I'm sorry, it's not your relationship with the rain, but it's raining right now, it's pouring. It's your relationship with your money, your valuables. Why? Because Venus rules these things, and Scorpio definitely rules those things. The things that are most important to you. Well, Scorpio rules other people's money, like loans. So what you would swipe because you don't have the money for now is what Scorpio would rule. And Scorpio takes it to the next level. Yeah, Chameleon says, it sounds so beautiful. It really is. But there's people, though, who are currently sitting in this chat right now, and they're like, Jess, I'm uncomfortable. I bet you are. And there's nothing against you, but it takes an honest assessment and a quiet restructuring, because that's what's happening to you. What is important to you is now changing, and it's shifting and evolving, because what your soul needs is something different than what you thought you needed. And then also, if you are sitting there and you're like, well, my soul wants true love, my soul wants a job that will provide for me, my soul wants this, you're right. But the universe also will look at it and will assess your current situation, will assess all areas of your life and say, you can only see this for right here, right now in this moment, but I can see this, and this. And these things are what is actually going to fill in the space, the void of what is significant and meaningful and important in your life. I need you to let go of your need to control everything. Release that so that I can transition this, so that I can transform this, so that I can make this different, so that I can make this better. If you fight it, you're only burning yourself out, you're only hurting yourself. You're blocking your blessing. You're blocking your ability to have faith. You're blocking your ability to manifest, because all of these signs, all of these planets are key in working alchemy and magic in your life, and not one of them can be left out. You don't get to pick and choose these planets or these certain things because they seem right to you. The reality is that you don't know all. I don't know all. I study the planets. I'm obsessed with the planets. Pluto rules my 5th house. I'm obsessed. I just suck the soul out of astrology and the occult and mysticism and spirituality and intuition, because it's destined in my chart for me to do this. And even I don't know all. So if you're using your minimal amount of knowledge and I'm using my minimal amount of knowledge in order to make decisions, executive decisions in our life, we have to realize that we have to release and relinquish our need to control everything because of the beauty and the grace of Pluto, reminding us that we can't do everything, but we can tweak certain stuff. But at the same time, when we start seeing death and transformation and transition happening within our lives, it's time for you to let go of that and to take a step back. Justina Larina says, oh shit, it's in my 5th house too. Yeah, me too, girl. So 5th house is all about creation, creativity, being able to birth things, being able to create things, being able to sexually express yourself, point blank, period. The ability to date, to have fun, to have recreation, to enjoy, to have pleasure, to have children. All of those things are being aspected. Your hobbies, those things in your life right now are currently changing. Thank God for that. Shamika says, can you see if someone is a witch in a birth chart reading? You can see if someone, like a natal chart, you can see if someone has a tendency to the darker sides of the occult, or what types of witchcraft they would gravitate towards. But in my opinion, the majority of us, even if we don't think that we are witches, we are witches, because we're able to create, we're able to manipulate things. It's just a matter of stepping into your power and using that. There are many witches who are walking the face of this earth who do not own their power, who are afraid of their own power, but they're still a witch, but they would never know it. They would never say it because they're fearful of it. You could see things like that within the chart. You could see if someone's going to steer more towards, being of light or of darkness. There's some people on Instagram who steer towards the dark, and you could see that within their chart. And you could see, people who are more positive, who actually want to help and not manipulate the masses. OTB guy says, my chart points to healing. Yep. And there's different things too that we rule. So you'll see, okay, what type of witchcraft will this person be drawn to? For example, for me, I keep telling you guys, like, I'm all about words and intention, visualization, intuition, using earth, using fire. If I'm going to set intentions, I'm going to write them down. I'm going to visualize them. I'm going to burn them or whatever in order to make my wishes, in order to make my magic known. And I also use the cosmos. I use what's going on in the planets, and I share that with you guys so that you're able to see what the energy is looking like so that you can manipulate and use your control and use your power in order to manipulate what's going on. When I use manipulate, I mean that in a positive sense. I don't mean to take advantage of, but to use your Pluto power, manipulation, in order to control Pluto and gain power of your circumstances, so that you can change them, transition them, transform them, all Pluto, for your highest and greatest good, on a way that hits you to your core, to your soul, just like Pluto rules that, so that you can have an incredible life of absolutely profound meaning. Also ruled by Pluto. Do you guys see a trend here? If you're not picking up on a trend at this point, you're not listening, or you're just really, really dense, which is fine. No shade. Renee Morrison, 84, says, I don't believe in good and bad. I'm both light and darkness. Me too, girl. You and me both. Even saying positive or negative, I'm not, when you hear me say positive or negative, or this is a negative emotion, this is a positive emotion, I'm not saying that. Don't translate that as me saying, oh, I'm having a positive emotion, a good emotion. Oh, I'm having a negative emotion. That means bad. I don't mean that. Like when I say negative or when I say positive, I'm not saying one is good or bad. I'm just saying the negative aspects of it, the negative energy of it, meaning that, and it's tough for our society to hear that, because sometimes we interpret negative as meaning bad, when in reality, a lot of us are talking about the energy of it, like actual masculine energy, feminine energy, positive, negative energy, light versus shadow. None of it is good or bad. So, exactly. Curly DGN says, there is light and dark. We need to find balance. And that's exactly bringing us right back to what it was I was talking about, which is the balance of the Libra New Moon, which is creating your perfect balance. Your perfect balance, which means don't look at what everybody else is doing. There's a tendency to do that. Libras, if you're a Libra, listen to me. Libras, you have a tendency to kind of look, whether you're Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra moon, you have a tendency to kind of look over on the opposite side and be like, the grass is greener over there. It's like, Libra, that's shallow. And you have to take care of what it is that you have here. Libra is one of those signs that'll be like, but it looks better over there, so I'm gonna go after that. And instead of taking care of what it is that they have here. The reality is that you have to create the perfect balance, not by comparison, but by connection. Not by comparison, but by connection. What is it that creates the perfect harmony for you? Virgo says, this is what perfect is. This is what everyone else is doing. This is how we do it. Libra says, this is, okay, we talked about that, Virgo. Thanks, but go sit down. Now it's my turn, Libra. I'm a Virgo, so that's when I go sit down. And then I look at Libra, and I listen to the council of Libra and Libra planets, and Libra says, create the perfect environment, the perfect alchemy for what works for you. And let's vibe. Let's feel this out in order for us to create. Now, Libra is currently retrograde, and also she's moving through the sign of Scorpio, which she doesn't really genuinely like being through the sign of Scorpio, but she doesn't have a choice but to suck it up. She got to do it. The reason why is because the reason why is because Venus wants to stay on a superficial level for the most part, but when she sits in the sign of Scorpio, Scorpio forces her to be real, to be intense, to be intimate, when a lot of times she's like, she wants to party, she wants to have fun, she wants to spend her money, she wants to flirt with all the boys, or the boys want to flirt with all the girls. And when she moves through Scorpio, that's the universe saying, what is it that is important to you? What is valuable to you? Take care of that. Create harmony and restore the balance within that. Also, Pluto is coming in and questioning your ability to control and your ability to shift power and to shift change. So, what I want you guys to do, I just saw pumpkin belly dudes. For those of you guys, I'm probably going to upload this on my YouTube channel afterwards. If you hear me say pumpkin belly dudes, it's because I'm looking at the comments and I'm reading them as they come up, and that just made me laugh. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure that you tune in for Astro Live Chats on Monday on Instagram, because that's when it's live and that's when it's lit. And I'm probably going to turn the music up again and go out with a bang. because I'm going to set intentions tonight. New Orleans is insane for setting intentions. I'm going to be working my magic tonight. Okay, so what we want to do, because we have 5 more minutes left, and Instagram is then going to cut me off, and then I'm going to go do my thing, i.e. set my intentions, work with my oils and stuff like that. What I want you guys to do tonight for setting intentions is to visualize your happily ever after. And what I mean by that is to not go into so much of a fantasy world that it's not what your heart truly wants. When I say happily ever after, I'm asking you to ask yourself, what is it that is my happily ever after? What is it that my soul, if I could have anything, if my living environment could be anything, if my relationship could be anything, if my career could be anything, if my health could be anything, if my day-to-day life could be anything, this is what it would be. And that's different for everybody. Some people want to live in Las Vegas. Some of us want to live in New Orleans. Some want to live in New York. Some want to live in a tree house in the Bahamas. Some want to live in the desert for different reasons, and their lives look different. Ask yourself, what is that perfect picture of that? What is your happily ever after? And the reason why this is because Venus and Neptune meet and creates this energy of happily ever after. Neptune is sitting in the sign of Pisces. Pisces connects to the soul, the higher calling. Neptune retrograde is having you to revisualize that image, that picture of your mind's eye that is coming from your destiny, that's coming from your connection to the higher source, and giving that gift over to Venus. Venus moving through the sign of Scorpio says, I hear that, I see that, and that resonates with me, even though it makes me uncomfortable sometimes to look at it, because now I have to take an intimate reevaluation of my relationship, my life, what is valuable to me when it comes to my money, my spending, my finances, and also how I portray myself and the life that I live. I'm really trying hard to stay focused as it's raining, because I want you guys to get this message and I don't want to get cut off, but I love the rain. Venus rules the energy of this new moon. The new moon sets the seed, sets the intent, starts the journey. The new moon happens in the sign of Libra, and this is about harmony and balance and finding what works for you. It's not about looking to see what others are doing. Don't look on my Instagram and see that I'm swimming in a koi pond, which isn't true. I'm not going to swim in the koi pond. My koi pond is cool, but I'm not going to swim in it. Don't look at my Instagram and see that I'm licking the dew off of it. Such a random visualization. Don't look at my Instagram and see that I've licked the dew off of a leaf and be like, I want that life. Jess's water is more pure than mine. That is the most random visualization and image that I could get. I'm sorry to plant that seed, that visual of me licking leaves in your head. But it's to prove my point. Don't look at what everyone else is doing, including me, and compare yourself. Create your perfect harmony, your perfect world, and open up to the fact that you have to usher in this issue of, or this ability to transform, to transition, to manipulate, to use what you can do in your power in order to create a transformation within your life. Think about your home environment, picture it. Don't settle for less. As much as I just dogged Libra for being superficial, I have to also exalt Libra for saying, I want more, I want better. So think about, for your life, what is it that's going to make your life more luxurious, make your life more comfortable? What is it that is important to you? Where is your money going to go? And then also, as you're setting that intention, open up to the beauty of that, open up to the control of that, and relinquish your need to control, especially on the new moon, because something new is stirring here. Then listen as the weeks come, especially as Mars is moving through the sign of Aquarius. It's going to ask you to do things differently. Listen as the weeks come for those signals, those signs, those voices, because I've got limited time, you guys. I'm trying. Uranus is sitting in the sign of Taurus, sitting directly opposite of Neptune. Both of them are being triggered. It's going to come in as aha moments. So journal these things down, write them down, and take them seriously, because your action needs to change. The planets are moving in cardinal signs, which means that things are going to be done differently, but the only way to create that change is if you do it. You have to do it. Your voice matters, your action matters, all of it matters, all of it makes an impact. And that's what's in the planets. Yes. I've got 11 seconds left. Make sure that you're following me on YouTube. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram. Share this, and I will be publishing it up on YouTube later. I love you guys.